Hello! It is time for Throughout the Years series episode 2, Kindergarten, and I'm really sorry guys. Yesterday's video was so long that YouTube would not let me give it a title. Well, it let me give it a title, but then it didn't actually publish with a title, so that's why it was untitled. So I'm sorry. But yeah, there were a couple things from preschool I forgot to mention, like getting to finger paint with pudding, chocolate pudding, and eating it, and going outside for drills. There was a speech therapist there who always brought me out for fire drills, and she is still my friend to this day. But yeah, today is kindergarten. The first thing I remember about kindergarten is that when it was wintertime, we would go to the bus stop. My mom would drive me to the bus stop. We would drive to the bus stop instead of walking. And when we would get there, we had a minivan at this point in time, and my mom would let me feel everything, like the windshield wiper controls, the cruise control. I thought the cruise control was awesome because my mom was like, I use the cruise control whenever we go see Aunt Susan. And now whenever I think of a car's cruise control, I think of my Aunt Susan. But she showed me like the lights, the windshield wipers, the cruise control, the blinker, the radio, the gear stick. It's not a standard, so it wasn't like first gear, second gear. It was just a regular automatic, so it was reverse, park, neutral, and drive. But, yeah, I remember that. I remember the first day of school. All I really remember is not raising my hand, because I didn't have to raise my hand in preschool, so I didn't know you had to do it in kindergarten. So I didn't raise my hand before I spoke, and I didn't, like, get in trouble or anything, but, like, my teacher would still answer the question. We had a class guinea pig named Cutie. And tomorrow in my first grade video, I'll talk about what happened with Cutie over the summer, but, or maybe it was second grade. I don't know. I'll probably include it in tomorrow's first grade video because I think it happened in first grade, but I don't know. But anyway, no, it didn't. But anyway, we had a guinea pig named Cutie who was an absolute junkie for carrots, absolutely loved carrots. So, yeah, and what else? The first day of school, I remember recess. I was outside. The recess aide's name was Mrs. Cobb, and I remember thinking, corn on the cob? What? But I wonder how she's doing nowadays. But anyway, yeah, I remember the first day of school. I remember that my teacher told me that directly after lunch was nap time, and it wasn't. It was recess, and then show and tell, and then nap time. I remember some of the things I brought in for show and tell in kindergarten. Like, some of the things were like, because we had a different letter of the alphabet each, like, week or something, and, like, I brought something for the letter A. I brought a fake apple. It wasn't real. It was one of the plastic apples from my fake play kitchen. For M, I brought a stuffed monkey. For F, oh my gosh, F was my favorite. I put my hand in the show and tell bag, and you were supposed to write 3 clues about whatever item you were bringing, and the class was supposed to guess what it was. So I don't remember what my clues were, but what I brought was my fingers, because I was F, and I brought my fingers. I just stuck my hand in the bag, and I pulled it out, and they're like, Abby, hand starts with H, and I'm like, yeah, but fingers don't. So anyway, I brought a cup for letter C. I brought my Betty Spaghetti doll for letter W. I don't know why. I think I didn't even name her with a W name. Like, her name was Betty, and I don't know why I brought her for W. I really don't, because you were supposed to bring something that started with the letter that you were bringing. But that's all I remember about show and tell. The apple, the cup, my fingers, the monkey, and Betty. Oh, my fingers were my favorite. Yeah, that was fun. Oh, the teacher had a traffic light system, and each student in the class was represented by a little clip with our names on them. And depending on how we behaved, the teacher would move our clip up or down the traffic light. So if we were well behaved, we landed on green, which had like a smiley face. If we'd been, a little ornery, we got the straight line mouth, yellow face. And if we were bad behaved, we got red. I went up to yellow a few times. I don't remember what I did, but yeah, I went up to yellow a few times. And then my family started this thing. I was a huge fan of Winnie the Pooh back then. I still am. And there was a part in one of the movies, Winnie the Pooh Making Friends, that Owl, the wise old owl, was talking about like something that I misinterpreted, that I thought he said recuperish. So my dad still to this day jokes that if I get in trouble, I get a recuperish. So if my clip goes up, I get a recuperish. Don't ask me. I don't know. It was stupid. I was in kindergarten. And one time he pretended to call the teacher to tell her that I had been bad at home and should get my clip up, but he actually dialed the home number. And I was like, he wanted to scare me. And like, I don't know. I hadn't really been bad. He was just being dad. I remember art class was on Wednesdays for an hour, and I remember thinking, because my teacher was like, everyone needs to try and use the bathroom because we're gone at art class for a whole hour, and that's a long time. And looking back now, I'm like, no, 60 minutes really isn't that long. But I guess it is for a kindergartner. So I remember the songs we used to sing, like the Good Morning song, the Number Rock, How About You, Hand in Hand, all the color songs, all the letter songs, I just, a ton of songs. I remember one time we were working on the letter R, and my teacher asked me to come up with a word that started with the letter R, and I said wreath, like a Christmas wreath, because it has the sound, the W is silent. And so my teacher said that was the first time I'd ever heard of WR words, was that incident in kindergarten. I hadn't heard about them before then. So my teacher said, that's a good guess, Abby, because it does have the R sound. Like she was, praising me because I got the R sound, because the word is not wreath, it's wreath, just with the R. And so she said, it does have the R sound, but it doesn't actually start with R, it starts with W. So yeah, that was my first ever WR word. Like, I had heard of wreaths before kindergarten, but I didn't know that it was WR. I thought it was just R. So I said wreath because I loved wreaths at that time, and I still do. So yeah, that was my funny WR incident. Oh my gosh. So at home, guys, you gotta understand, I can't see. Okay, but my siblings can see. But my siblings wanted nothing to do with climbing. And me, the little, blind chick, sorry if that offended anyone out there who is blind, I climbed, if it went up, I climbed it. And apparently one time I climbed onto the counter. I don't remember doing that, but I do remember one time my mom was out of the room. I had come home early from school. I think it was like the day before Thanksgiving. It was a half day or something. So we were all let out early. It wasn't like I'd been sick or something. So I was home. My mom was, I think, in the bathroom. My dad was still at work at the time. So he was at work. And I had climbed up on top of the couch. And my mom came back into the room. And I'm sitting up on the back of the couch, just rocking and rolling, having fun up on the top of the couch. Yep, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, apparently I climbed onto the counter as well, but I have no idea. Okay, so my vision itinerant, who's the person who taught me Braille, because I was a very stubborn Braille learner, I did not want to learn Braille, so she came up with a point system. Every day that I worked hard, I got a point, and the points were represented by they were called wiki sticks. And I'm sure if you're blind and you're around my age, you may have heard of wiki sticks. You may have used them in school. They're basically things that help you make shapes and graphs and things. So my vision itinerant broke wiki sticks up into little pieces, and each little wiki stick piece was a point, and I had to collect 10 points, so 1 point a day, Monday through Friday, for 2 weeks. And once I got to 10, I got a sleepover at my grandma's house, and we did this from like kindergarten through I don't know how long. Like, I know it had stopped by the time I hit 5th grade, so it wasn't all of elementary school, but I had done it through, like, I think we started in kindergarten. I don't remember. But yeah, I remember sleepovers with my grandparents who are now passed away. I remember that my teacher had us each sit on a letter. And it wasn't necessarily our initials, because the girl to my right was sitting on the letter S, and the letter S was not any of her initials. So, but I got a letter T, which is my last initial. So I remember I would trail my hand along a table, find the end of the table. The trash can was at the end of the table. The easel was next to the trash can, and then my letter T was right there. And that's how I would find my spot. And the letter T was a Braille label, and I sat on my letter T. And the Braille one day started coming loose, so we tried to make a new T. And the letter T in Braille, I don't know how to describe what it looks like for those of you who can see. But for those of you who can't and you know Braille, you know what the letter T is, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I had just learned the letter T. Well, I hadn't just learned it, but the letter T always threw me because it just looked like a series of gibberish dots. And I didn't understand what it meant. So the letter T, we put it on a regular old piece of Braille paper, because I needed a new T label because my old label was ripping. So we needed a new label. We put the letter T on a piece of paper, regular Braille paper, because we didn't have any labeling tape. And then we tried to scratch it off the paper. And as you know, if you know Braille, if you put a letter on regular Braille paper and then use your finger to scratch it, what happens? It gets dull. So yeah, that part of the plan didn't work. So I had to go the rest of the year trying to find my T, which was no longer labeled. Yeah. That was quite fun. Let's see, what else? Oh, the Three Piggy Opera. So this was our class play in kindergarten. It was called the Three Piggy Opera, and as you might be able to guess, it's the story of the three little pigs. I used to have a VHS of our performance, but I don't anymore. Because we don't have a VCR. But the Three Piggy Opera was basically the story of the three little pigs, which every one of you should know. So I'm not going to go through it because you know how it goes. But it had songs in it. So and I was the mother pig in cast 1. Basically, there were too many people in our class like there weren't enough characters for everyone, but my teacher wanted everyone to have a turn. So she put us into 2 casts, and I was in cast 1. I was the mother pig in cast 1, and one of my classmates was the mother pig for the second cast. And there were some people who played the same parts. Like the one girl was the narrator for both casts. But
My Babasim 2 now.
uh-oh.
Chrissy needs your attention.
Okay. Well, I'll get to her in a minute. So I almost had to miss the Three Piggy Opera because I had been bad in occupational therapy and in class and all this stuff. And do you remember me talking about Mrs. All Work and No Play yesterday? Yeah, I had her from, I guess you could say, preschool to 4th grade. Even though it was really kindergarten to 4th grade because I met her in preschool. And so Mrs. All Work and No Play, I don't want to say threatened because I don't think it was a threat, but she told me that if I didn't start acting better, that she was going to tell my teacher to pull me out of the play and have the cast 2 Mother Pig be Mother Pig for both casts. And at that time, that would have devastated me, but now looking back, it's like, you know what? Oh, well. So my teacher wanted me to be the Mother Pig because apparently I'm a good singer. And I don't want to say I am because I don't want to sound like I'm bragging. So apparently I'm a good singer, and apparently I was back then. I do not think I sounded good back then. I listened to that VHS so many times, I do not think I sounded that good back then. I could sing the song now, I still know it, but for copyright reasons, I'm not going to. But yes, that was very, very interesting. I almost had to miss it because I was very bad. I remember one day, maybe it was a couple days, but I do remember 2 days specifically. One day I had to miss nap time because my adaptive PE instructor came, and another day I had to miss nap time because the resource teacher wanted me to go down and play a game with them. And to this day, I really don't know why. Like, I don't understand. I don't remember why she wanted me out there, but I do remember it was during nap time. And yeah, that was when Mrs. All Work and No Play got a break and she went to lunch. And yes. So yes, I remember we played a beanbag game in the resource room, and we made pancakes. And I remember the pancakes feeling like rubber, and then they turned into like food. So I really don't know, like, because I know that can't happen. So I really don't know what had happened. Oh, okay. One of my favorite memories of kindergarten, music class. The music teacher was a traveling music teacher, and she came into our classroom. So in kindergarten, we didn't actually have to go to the music room. The music teacher came to us, and she would bring musical instruments, and she would bring things like, she would bring musical instruments, and she would let us, I remember like Halloween, she gave us each a pair of, I don't know if they were claves, but they were definitely some sort of rhythm stick. And we would be like, black cats, tap, tap, howling in the night. Black cats, tap, tap, looking for a bite. So, yeah, that was the Halloween song we did. And then I remember, I'm a little snowflake floating by, or something like that. And they would say, drifting, we'd lean to the left. Floating, we'd lean to the right. Through the sky, or something like that. I don't remember the exact words, but What else? What else did we do? We did five little kites flying up in the sky. And then I don't know if that was in kindergarten though. I don't remember. And oh, my favorite kindergarten song was Can't Sit Still. Or my favorite music class song from kindergarten was Can't Sit Still, because to this
Messages.
day I still can't.
Now. Thomas 1991. Okay, I just got home. You want me to FaceTime you now?
So yeah, I remember that. Let's see. Oh, I remember the 100th day of school, I got lost in the building. I don't remember if that was kindergarten or not. Oh, the summer between kindergarten and first grade, my teacher picked 2 students to go to the botanical gardens, and it was me and a friend. And then we went to her mom's house, my teacher's mom's house, and swam in the pool. But I remember feeding the fish and thinking of the fish that we used to have. We used to have a fish tank in the house with fish, and when they died, they got flushed down the toilet. So, yeah, that was fun. Our class guinea pig I told you about, and that is it. I think this video is a lot shorter than yesterday, so hopefully it will let me title it. And I love you all. I will see you tomorrow. Please don't take that the wrong way, guys. I'm not, like, gonna date you or anything, but I will see you guys tomorrow in my first grade video.
21 minute. Stop recording. Heading not found.
Stop.